Hey, buddy, I'm back. So, what I want to talk about today is DEI. Okay, and this is based on I know couple of weeks ago. Actually, there's a memo dated July 29th from the Attorney General's office, from the U.S. Attorney General's office, Attorney General Bondi, um, a memo to all federal agencies for guidance for recipients of federal funding regarding unlawful discrimination, talking about DEI programs, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And this is for all entities that receive federal funds as well as operate under federal legal guidelines. Um, Now, just as a caveat to this whole thing, I just want to say that just like everything else on this channel, all of my videos, these are my opinions. Okay, so if you're going to be doing anything relating to like any DEI programs, and this is going out to, um, any HR professionals specifically, if you're going to do anything, seek your own legal counsel, from your organization, from your company, and before you do anything. So um, it's gotten to a point where people think, when the administration talks about DEI, that DEI equals LGBT, which is not right. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Um, yes, they are good initiatives. However, it doesn't mean LGBT. What is diversity? Diversity is all around us. The entire planet is diverse. The flora, the fauna, the plants, the trees, the animals, us, we are all diverse. No one is exactly the same. So diversity is all around us. Equity is just making everything equitable, that it's fair. Everybody has the same rights. And obviously inclusion is just including everybody in the game. So, and when you read I mean, not to get political, but to get political, I'll put a link to the memo in the description. And when you do read it, and yeah, a lot of the examples that are stated are around, educational institutions, like giving specific scholarships to specific groups, things like that, or hiring. Um, but I mean, you'll notice that a lot of the stuff that's in here, you can actually turn on the TV and see what the administration is doing. That actually goes against the things that are happening, that are being stated in the memo. Even you go to the State Department and about travelers. Any guidelines for travelers, and it used to have LGBT. Now it just says lesbian and gay travelers, so there's no transgender. They're taking out transgender. The National Parks Department was ordered to take out anything related to transgender for the Stonewall riot in 1969. Uh, that was actually started by somebody who was transgender, Martha P. Johnson. So all of these things that are trying to erase people and take rights away from people, which goes directly against a lot of the things that are said in this memo. So that's my political rant. Okay, so but from an HR perspective, from an employment perspective, you need to understand that you do have employees that fall under the categories of protected groups, the LGBT, that are lesbian, that are gay, that are even transgender. Majority of employees, almost half of employees, are not out at work. Why? Because they don't want to be discriminated against, and not from legislation, but from their peers. Uh, you know, does your organization, does your business have anything? I mean, granted, yes, you have the base EEOC anti-discrimination guidelines, in Title VII, but do you have anything? Do you provide a safe space for employees? Do you have, do you have programs that help to educate everyone about differences? Do you have ERGs? They're called BERGs, ERGs, affinity groups, employee networks. They're just employee groups. Do you have an LGBT group? Do you have diversity is everywhere, and ERGs should include everybody, and all ERGs, no matter what. If you have an LGBT one, you have one for military veterans, you have Asian heritage, you have Latina, you have people of color. There are so many, even generations. You have older employees and younger employees. Every group needs to be open to everyone to join. Not just, well, if you're a military veteran, you can only join the military veterans group. No, there are allies. That's what we call allies. So diversity is everywhere, and from an HR perspective, you do need to understand that your employees come into work with everything that you see on TV and that you read about in their heads constantly, on a constant basis. What does that do to engagement? How engaged is an employee going to be? We say, well, leave your personal life outside the door. That's not going to happen. That can't happen. We're human beings. So you have to understand that you do have employees that are part of these groups that are being marginalized and that are specifically being attacked on a daily basis. Even some of us that fear literally for our lives. So what can you do? What can an HR professional do? What can an organization do? What other policies do you have that expand on the base policy, the anti-discrimination and harassment policy that you have to have by federal guidelines? What do you have? Anything else? Do you do roundtable discussions? Do you do lunch and learns? To help people to understand each other, no matter what. The challenges that I am going through as a transgender per individual, do other people, do my coworkers know about that? As well as do I know about the challenges that they're going through, a single parent or someone, who is Hispanic heritage or Asian? Do I know what they're going through? Do I know the challenges that they have? I may not. So we need to have education. You need to provide this kind of education. You need to provide a safe space and give people the space to take a breath and get away from what's going on in the world. Do you have programs? Internal EAP programs, external EAP programs. I heard from somebody, someone contacted me that they were looking to start their transition. They're transgender, looking to start their transition within their workplace. And they called up their HR department, for if there was any programs or anything. Their HR department just basically gave them the general policy, anti-discrimination policy, and then referred them to, they have an outside party that is like an EAP, an employee assistance program. And so they called up that EAP, and that EAP sent them to a psychologist, psychiatric, for psychiatric help. It's like, what? Why would they send the individual to put them into a psychiatric program? They had no idea. And when they reached back out to their HR person said it was shocked. So HR, do you know what your programs are? Do you know what your employees need? Benefits-wise, health benefits. From a transgender perspective, what health benefits does a transgender individual need? I mean, yes, we have our hormone therapy. What about any other medical interventions? There is therapy. We have to do, be with a therapist for at least a year before going on hormone therapy. But does your health plan, the health company that you work with, the benefit company, do they have anything specific? They may say, oh yeah, we're transgender friendly, but meanwhile, what about like any other gender affirming care? What about voice? I remember I said to somebody when I was doing a panel discussion, I said, yeah, if I pull my hair back, not wear any makeup, and put on a suit, you listen to me and you see me. I'm a guy. But, hormone therapy does different things to different people. There's bottom surgery, the gender reassignment surgery, there's top surgery, breast augmentation. Well, that's cosmetic. No, it's not. There's a lot of research going around, and if you talk to your insurance company and get the clinical process and the clinical policy, it should have medical research attached to it. And a lot of times, the research will show that an individual who goes through a lot of the medical processes and the gender affirming care equate to a better emotional and psychological health. So look into it. Don't just take their word for it. Ask your employees. I mean, granted, yes, from a financial point of view, how many of your employees are transgender? Maybe 1%. And if you as an organization, if you supplement some of the health insurance, are you going to pay an extra premium just for maybe 1% of your workforce? Probably not. But are there any other ways? Would the individual be willing to contribute a little bit more just so that they can get those extra benefits that they need? Look into it. Know what your employees want. Give them the space to actually open up to you. A lot of times, and I hate to say it, but HR is considered like IAB, internal affairs. They work for the C-suite. Work for your employees. It's human resources. Be human. Work for your employees. So that's just a little bit about DEI. DEI does not mean LGBT. DEI means a whole lot of stuff. And you know what? Since diversity is all around us, equity is there. Give everybody a fair shake. Give everybody a fair chance, and inclusion. Why don't we just say, you know what? Instead of doing a DEI program, why don't we just have a corporate culture of inclusion where we include everyone? So you know what? Let's put that around, people. Hashtag culture of inclusion. How's that? Okay? Let's just put that around and think about that. We have a corporate culture of inclusion. So that's my thoughts, some quick thoughts on DEI. I don't want to make these videos all too long, but just some quick thoughts on DEI. Let me know if you want to go deeper into it. I absolutely will. And again, that memo from the AG's office, I will put the link to that in the description. So I will speak to you soon on any other topic that comes to my mind. Bye.